Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wednesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy. Glad to be here with you guys on a very windy, rainy, and very spring-like Wednesday evening. I have another great show planned for your viewing and listening pleasure this evening. Our co-host for the evening is a little late, and we're just waiting on the co-host to arrive in just a second. But in a little bit, we'll talk about everything that we have in store. Today, it is Equal Pay Day for women. And as you guys all know, we're celebrating Women's History Month as well, too. And it's Restaurant Week. So tonight, we'll welcome a wonderful mixologist of sort. We'll learn about the history of women in barkeeping and barmaids. Everybody has their favorite person they go to at a bar who always makes the cocktail just right. Well, we'll meet an amazing woman tonight who is not only a wonderful mixologist, but she also gives back to young bartenders to help them to level up their game. Does that make sense? All right, very good. All right, so our co-host this evening is finally here, the one and only Mr. Kevin Ross of Two Guard Group. He's been here with us many times before, and we appreciate him coming back. And thank you so much. Here he is, the one and only Mr. Kevin Ross. Yay!
Peace. How are you, my brother?
Good, brother. How you feel?
I'm fantastic, man. Running around today like a chicken with my head cut off, but I had to get myself ready for my favorite part of today, which is co-hosting with my guy right here, my man.
Well, I appreciate you. I do. I'm glad you was able to pop in and do what you do. We got a lot to talk about tonight. It's been a busy day. First of all, happy Women's History Month to you. I see you've been doing quite a few things to celebrate phenomenal women. So what is it that you want to say to all of the wonderful ladies out there? Because you've been doing a good job repping that this month and talking about phenomenal women.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. For me, it was pretty easy. I grew up in a house full of women. I have three sisters, and my father passed when I was 12 years old, rather. So my mother, did all the heavy lifting. So I've seen phenomenal women from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So it's not a stretch to have to celebrate them and to have an understanding of what women have had to go through during the history of our culture and whatnot. So the one thing I want to say is we appreciate you. We love you. We're grateful for you. And at least in my estimation, the woman is the backbone of civilization. Period.
Absolutely.
She carries the children, carries the burden of the family at times. Her job has been from the Bible to assist the man to having to take over. Now we see, at times where, the woman has had to take over the role of leader and leadership. And so, just grateful. Grateful for you guys, and we're grateful to celebrate Women's History Month and celebrate women in general.
Very good. All right. Well, with today being a day to recognize equal pay for women, I think it is so important that we talk about how, with this economy being the way it is, us wanting to get our country back to normal. And even let's look at the role of a bartender or a barmaid. Those are women that depend on tips. To make sure people are always pleased and happy when it comes to it. They play psychiatrist, they play mom, all of that, depending on who the customer is and what do they want in the exchange of that great cocktail as well, too. And most women that I know that are in the business are just some of the most well-rounded women ever,
Absolutely. Agree 100%. As you know, one of my clients, the phenomenal Raquel Fields over at 14th Parish.
Yes.
What a great entrepreneur.
Yes.
But a great person as well. Very personable, and congratulations to her for Chicago Restaurant Week. She's ranked in the top 5.
Yep. And we're actually celebrating Chicago Restaurant Week. It is going until April 4th this year, you guys. $55 at some of the best restaurants ever. Where I had lunch on Sunday. I'm not going to name the place, but they had a special going on and it just looked amazing. I will be doing Restaurant Week all over the city to be able to help circulate that dollar and show appreciation to various neighborhoods. But no, we're going to talk a lot about Restaurant Restaurant Week. And then next week, we're going to feature a few Restaurant Week choices. So very good.
Fantastic. Good to see that you're doing that. I actually had someone address one of my posts that was actually about my client. And they expressed to me, and I didn't know that this had occurred, that there are some African-American owned restaurants that were disappointed that they did not make the ranking or make it into Chicago Restaurant Week. So I said that I would help any way that I could. And, if there's anyone that's watching now and you're a restaurant, let's come on in, ask us a question, and I can kind of tell you guys how I went about it with my client.
Okay, very good. Well, we'll have to talk to the powers to be, and make sure that they make it more inclusive. So
absolutely, 100%.
I would love to have a conversation about and how to make that all happen, because there are a lot of wonderful black holes in the wall that you would just not believe that offer some of the best food ever. Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, even some of the ones, here, as you know, I live in Hyde Park. Hyde Park alone, just on 53rd Street, has some amazing restaurants, and a couple of those are African-American owned. So anything that I can do and anything that you can do, is for the culture. Let's do it.
Amen. I agree. All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to give you the daily COVID-19 update numbers. As you guys all know, we're a health and wellness show. Today, it was announced that 107,219 dosages of the COVID-19 vaccine was administered on Tuesday, with the 7-day rolling average vaccine dosage being at 97,680. Earlier in the day, and actually yesterday, Chicago Public Health Commissioner Dr. Allison Arwady said on Tuesday, she warned us that our COVID numbers were going back up and that it had a lot to do with the younger demographic. And I guess today we ended up having quite high numbers for positive cases. Reported today, Wednesday, 2,793. Yesterday, when I read that number, if I'm not mistaken, it was in the 14 to maybe 16 range. So now we're looking at 2,793 new confirmed or probable cases. And unfortunately, we had 20 additional deaths. This now brings our total number of cases to 1,227,708 cases. And we unfortunately have had 21,136 deaths since the beginning of this pandemic. And our positivity rate has gone up to 2.8. Yesterday, when I read this, I thought I read 2.6 maybe. So it is now
correct. That's right on point. Yeah, 2.6 to 2.8.
Yes, absolutely. So Kevin, where are you at with all the COVID? Have you had the shot yet? What's going on?
So let's start with myself. Obviously, being someone who's in the public eye and whatnot, I've been asked a million times what I think and will I be getting the vaccine. And I answered very honestly in the beginning. I had a real distrust of the vaccine itself. I felt that it was rushed in comparison to other vaccines historically. I didn't have a real trust in the previous administration in any way, shape, or form. Not just as an African American man, but as a man and American citizen. Period. We've had issues with honesty, and we've had issues with transparency in our government, and only until recently have we been able to start to allay some of those fears. I have the benefit of having someone in my life who was on the front lines of this. She works over for the University of Chicago, and she's given me step-by-step news, instructions, nothing that I'm not supposed to know, but she has guided me through the process. And so I guess the one thing I would recommend to people is find somebody that you can trust to deliver information to you so you can make an informed decision. Right. That's the best way to do it. I got, when I signed up, I was in group 1P, as in Paul. Now, I was not happy about that. Okay. Let's be honest. I was not happy about 1P. I don't know how. Meanwhile, my mother in California, who's 87, she just got her second shot. My niece, who works as a state's attorney for California state's attorney, she's 30. She got her shot. My three sisters all got theirs in California, and here I am in Chicago looking crazy at some, 1P. Good news though. Today I got a text.
You in group what now? Group 1P.
One Paul. But
hold on.
Good news.
I didn't even know they had a group that went up that high. I did not know. I thought, okay, to be honest with you, I really was in like group B or C or whatever, but
sure.
No, I didn't. We are all the way up to group P now.
Well, that's where my weight was going to be. But again, that's why I wanted to add to that. Good news. I got a text message this morning that says I've been bumped up to priority group 1B plus. If I got that right, I hope I got that right. 1B plus.
Right.
So they said they will reach out to me regarding an appointment. And again, this is Cook County. This is Cook County Health, just so you know. So then I should be looking at, according to my source, she said I should be looking to receive another email or text in the next week, and they'll be giving me an appointment. And I have decided to take the vaccine. I've decided which one. I reviewed AstraZeneca. I reviewed Johnson & Johnson. I reviewed them all. I read all of the science. I read all of the facts. I read all of the information. Then I went to my friends who are in the medical field. I went to doctors, and I went to people that we can trust. And I think that's important in the African American community, is we've got to find those among us that we can actually trust. True. We really have a trust issue within our community. I call it historic PTSD, and that's okay. We have that, but we need to start trusting. So I'm going to be taking I'm not doing the 1 shot. I will be doing the 2 shots. And I've decided against AstraZeneca because there was a stumbling block. So I'll be going with one of the other ones, and we'll go from there.
Very good. All right. Well, I get my second dosage tomorrow, and I'm going to it. I know a couple of people who have gotten their second dosage, and it knocked them out and put them in the bed and all of that. Right. I plan on, working, laying down, doing this tonight, and then taking the rest of the weekend, hopefully to recover, and hopefully it's nothing, too bad or anything like that.
My advisor says that you should stock up on your vitamin B, and expect a reaction probably in the first 24 hours, maybe not. But as you said, give yourself a couple of days to get through it. But she advised me to get my vitamin B together and take the shot, and then really don't have a lot planned for that weekend. My mother actually only had about 24 hours of discomfort at 87. She's a tough one. Black mothers don't play. So my mother said one day, 24 hours, and by that second day, she's ready to rock and roll. I spoke to her a few days ago, and she's great. So
okay, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Most of the people that I've talked to, they've been okay, but a few people said that, they did have somewhat of a reaction to it. Sure. I did have a reaction to the first round. So, so we'll see. We will see, but we do want to encourage everybody to make your own decision, do your research, figure out exactly what you want to do. But Kevin, I'm just so glad that people are getting the shot, and I'm making plans with people that have gotten the shot, and we, have agreed that we still want to do social distancing. We want to do masks, all of that stuff, but we really do get to see each other in person,
Well, a big part of the issue is once a lot of people heard vaccine, they thought it was over, and they think it's over. And the truth of the matter is there's a new strain in the UK.
Yes.
As you wisely said earlier, 2.6 up to 2.8. There's some people probably watching us now saying, "Oh, Kevin and Art, that's not a big deal." It is a big deal. We were going in the other direction. We're averaging 2.5 million vaccinations a day here in the United States, towards 350 million people that we need to get vaccinated. Of that 350 million people, 30 million people have said adamantly that they will not take the vaccine. That includes some health officials. That includes those in some of the southern states, those who were listening to the previous occupant of the White House. That's 30%. At that rate, we'll never get to what we call herd immunity. We need 80% to get to herd immunity. And we're not going to make it with 30% of the population saying they're not going to engage. So I would encourage those of you who are watching and listening and whatever the case may be, again, as Art said, do your research. But let's pay attention to the science. We're the world's foremost leader in science and knowledge. We have the largest proliferation of the Nobel Peace Prize winners in science that come from the United States. So we shouldn't be acting like a backwards country that doesn't understand science. Let's pay attention to it.
Well, Kevin, this is what I want to bring up more than anything. Here's the deal. Those that will not get the shot and do not believe in getting it, here's how now science will evolve from this. Those that have received all of their shots, fully vaccinated, will be quick to tell a healthcare worker, I've been vaccinated. I've been vaccinated. Right. That's the new terminology that everybody is going to be using now. Those that have not been vaccinated, when they do get sick, God forbid, I'm not wishing that on anybody, but if they do get sick, I'd be curious to see from this point forward how continuous COVID cases will be treated, because you're going to have quite a few people that have not received the vaccine. They probably will come down with COVID, and we now would have to be able to study those people too. So, I don't know. I just think that's the way the world works,
Right. Well, I agree with you 100%. The problem with that is it slows our progress towards getting a handle on this virus. The more people we have that eschew the vaccine and the vaccination itself, and let me be clear, I can understand where some people would question it. I really do. Again, when you've seen and heard so many different stories and you've got a lot of different elements in the news. It's hard to make a decision. But at the end of the day, if I'm in line and I'm looking at somebody, I'm not going to be an African-American man who's standing in line or waiting in the waiting room behind somebody who might be white or Asian or whatever the case may be. If they go in and get the shot, I don't think they're going to switch out the needle on me. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to go to the back and get the one for the black guy. You know what I mean? So let's not be so, let's not be so suspicious that we actually do ourselves harm. And I really mean that from the bottom of my heart, because I was in the group of people in the beginning that I was very skeptical, and I would not have recommended it in the beginning. I didn't feel that enough of African Americans were in the initial trials. I didn't feel enough children were in the initial trials. I just didn't believe in it. However, I'm a bit more confident now, so I would encourage it.
Very good. All right. Well, with that decision, that's something you guys need to make, but please consider it so that we can get back to some form of normalcy. All right, Kevin, I want to talk about all of the mass shootings that we've had here in the United States. Just my goodness, in a week's time, we had the mass shooting just a few days ago in Boulder, Colorado, where 10 people were killed. Last week, it was Atlanta, where a total of 8 people were killed there. And it's just back-to-back shootings. Today, it wasn't a mass shooting, but someone got shot at a driver's license facility here in Broadview, Illinois. Shootings are... and here's the deal. It's the same song I'm singing over and over again.
Absolutely.
That's not what I'm trying to do. But I'm frustrated. Why are we still talking about this? Why, Kevin?
Yeah. Well, a big part of the problem is that, we have to start at the top. And when you look at an organization that actually controls the way guns are sold and bought in the United States, that would be the NRA. Right. The NRA has such input into our political system. They finance a lot of our politicians. They finance a lot of our politicians' campaigns in exchange for their support in terms of things like gun control. And so then it has to go to the House and the Senate to try to stabilize these things. And like yourself, I'm having a real difficult time understanding why we can't seem to get a uniform system of checks, of background checks, of requirements to buy a gun. They vary from state to state. I personally am not big on guns. I really am not. I think that guns just invite more violence. I think if I have a gun and Art and I have a problem and Art has a gun, instead of settling it like men, instead of settling it like decent human beings, well, we're going to go to get a gun and I'm going to go or he's going to go. I don't believe that it settles anything. I've had this argument many times. I've had it with African Americans who have said, well, we need to defend ourselves. I've had it with mainstream white Americans who have said, well, I need to defend my home and I need to do, you know what? I have yet to watch a news report that says, hey, this gun saved my life.
Right.
I haven't. Where have you, Art? Just be honest. Have you ever watched the news and somebody said, you know what? I was about to get robbed and I pulled out my gun, man, and it saved my life.
Right. Yeah. No.
Never.
On dramas, on Andy Griffith somewhere like that, but not a person bragging on mainstream news about it. No, wouldn't.
No.
Right.
By the time you reach your gun in any general given situation, it's probably too late. If that was the case, we wouldn't have as many carjackings as we've had in Chicago.
Yes.
So I'm not a person who's for it, and yet here we are again back in Congress trying to. Every time tell me if I'm wrong. Every time there is a mass shooting, all of a sudden everyone gets up in arms, and then in politics, then there is this movement towards either gun control in its entirety or trying to increase it somehow. And there was a little no news item late last year that no one really paid attention to. The NRA filed for bankruptcy. Nobody even I never heard. I saw it once and nobody even talked about it. Man, really? NRA filed. Yes, sir. They filed for bankruptcy late last year. No one even knows that.
Yet, Kevin, gun dealers and gun manufacturers, their business is going through the roof right now.
It's booming.
And gun ranges,
Absolutely. And it's not just, again, it's all people. It's the United States leads the world in two categories: guns and gun ownership, and gun crimes committed, and incarceration. Right. Those are where we lead the world. We lead the world. We lead every nation in the world in those two categories. Go figure, right? So there's definitely a gun. The guns are not a solution. And every time we have something, and again, prayers go out to the people who were involved in the shooting, the supermarket shooting, where 10 people were shot, including a police officer. Our prayers go out to his family and those who were involved. But every time we have this, we have the same conversation, and we have those in Congress who try to block it. We have Congress people trying to carry guns into the Capitol.
Right. Right. And we saw what happened with the insurrection. So yeah.
Okay. And you can't have a situation where we have a country that has a history of violence, and yet we continue to encourage the instruments that can help continue that. That's when we have to start making the decision one way or another,
Very good. All right. Well, I agree with you 100% on that. Kevin, I want to talk about another really hot news story. Did you see where I sent you the story where Stacey Dash wants to come back and join the Black fold? Stacey Dash has, been dipping her toe in the water and want to date a brother again. Kevin, I know, you're a music exec, you own your own business, you stay out social. Stacey Dash now would probably make a great arm piece for you, but you're already taken. But she wants to come back. She wants to come back. So do we allow Stacey Dash to come back?
Well, the funny thing about the culture is that we have very short memories. Look at Chrisette Michelle as an example. We have very short-term memories when it comes to these types of things. So the interesting thing about Stacey is that, like a lot of entertainers, you can probably point to 90% of her problem being not having good management or any management of any type. Because the beginning of the end of her career started when she was guesting on Sean Hannity and Piers Morgan in 2012, and then going head to head with BET and Jada Pinkett Smith and asking that if we don't, Clueless was supposed to be a movie she was in. It wasn't supposed to be the way she lives her life. Right. Because every situation after that was completely clueless. Right. You don't talk about Black History Month and you were on the game on BET on a Black network. or
Right.
you were on Single Girls on a black network. That's a good way to commit career suicide.
Right.
So now
Right.
she wants to come back to the barbecue, as I like to call it. She
Yeah.
wants to come
Yeah.
now, get back with the barbecue. You dig? So Stacy is going to have to go some because there was a lot of damage done. There was a ton of damage done, but what she learned the hard way is you can't really jump to the other side of the fence. They don't really want you there in the first place. They only welcome you to make a point and to
Right.
try to make a point. And when they're done with you, they're done with you. She was fired from Fox News. She was fired from these places that she sought refuge in. And so, if my career was in the tank, I'd be doing what she's doing. I'd be apologetic and trying to get it figured out. But as there is in life, there's always a balance. We can look at the talk and look at what's going on over there. I have a feeling our girl won't be back on that show.
Sharon
Unfortunately,
Osbourne.
don't think Sharon's gonna make it through this.
You know what? I feel so bad for that entire situation. And
I
again,
do too.
Cheryl
I do too.
Underwood, one of the most gracious people ever. I consider myself a lot like Cheryl Underwood. Like, people do so many wrongs and ills in this world, and you try to gracefully tell them, and they don't get it or don't understand it. People don't realize
Right.
black people have gone through a struggle that I don't think any other race that I've become familiar with have gone through the same struggles that we've gone through, just trying
Agreed.
to even live every day. You know what I'm saying? And when I meet people of other races, that even when I go to explain it in a charming, non-confrontational way, and you still don't get it, we have a problem.
Right.
We have a problem.
Right.
We do.
You probably have had some. You said charming and non-confrontational. I go ugly. I've gone the ugly route, which means I get on Facebook and I've engaged some of these people, and I have spoken on Google and responded to some of the there's a comment section, and I've jumped right in feet first. And there's some ugliness in there. There's a lot of ugliness in there. There are a lot of people who believe so many stereotypes about black people that it's not even funny. They believe that we're lazy, that we're all on public assistance, that we all trying to kill each other. I mean, they believe this. They believe these things. And as such, they proceed with these beliefs and assumptions. And so it's very difficult. And so I always say, whether it's Stacey Dash, or whether it's Candace Owens, or whether it's who's the brother that wears the hat, I always say this to them, that you have to look at the history of plantations and understand that it has always been advantageous to mainstream culture to have someone of African American descent on the side of the quote unquote master. And that's just where it is. So if you think you're going to come out ahead, you're not, because when it comes time to sell you, they'll sell you.
Right.
You will be sold.
Absolutely.
And so that's one of the things, me personally, Stacey Dash, she didn't really do a whole lot for me. I wasn't so concerned about her. The one that concerns me is Candace Owens. Candace Owens is a concern. She just got her own show.
Right. I know. Yeah.
A talk show, my guy. You know what I mean? That's dangerous. What people fail to understand is that when Rush Limbaugh passed away, you got all these people vying for his position.
Yes.
You've got Hannity, you've got the other guy on Fox who I can't stand that guy. He's now opening his mouth.
Right.
You got Candace Owens. The one of the things that I think a lot of people don't know and understand is that Donald Trump was made possible by your talking heads in conservative radio and on conservative television. He was made possible by capturing that audience and then focusing or weaponizing and directing that audience. Right. So these things are dangerous. And I think that Stacey probably is learning a hard lesson right now. Now, she's a sister, so I'm going to pull for her. I hope that she's had a talk to Jesus moment, and I'm hoping that she's coming back around. And if I see her somewhere, we can have a conversation. I'm good.
Yeah.
No. Because I thought you know what? She was in that. Remember that time in our culture in the 90s where it was just nothing but fine women, beautiful women. It was Jada Pinkett Smith. It was Stacey Dash was in Mo Money. It was all of the movies that came out back then. You even had what's her name was in oh, I can't, why can't I think of her name now? She played Storm in the X-Men. Halle. You had Halle Berry. She was in the Strictly Business movie. That was like that was like 2 years of just fine women in the movie.
See?
And Stacey Dash at that time was right there. You know, she had the opportunity. And then she got Clueless, which was a great mainstream movie, great success, TV series. And then she just started making bad decisions. So I think that she's learned a lesson, hopefully, you know?
Yeah, Kevin, I think a hood brother is what will bring Stacey Dash back. And to my understanding, the singles ad that she placed, she was looking for a brother. She was looking for, you know, a lot of times when people get lost and become, you know, somebody else and, you know, they want to live that Hollywood life, they oftentimes forget where they come from. And when you bring yourself back down to a certain level, it's best that you find somebody to be in a relationship that you can get what you need from the relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
absolutely. 100%. Helps anchor you. You know, helps anchor you and keep you focused, you know?
Yes. All right. Well, with that being said, want to give a big old shout out to Queen Latifah. She is kicking butt and taking names on the CBS night show, The Equalizer, and everybody has been talking about just how this role was really created for Queen Latifah. Kevin, have you had a chance to see The Equalizer, and what are some of your thoughts about it?
Watch it every week. Watched it when it debuted after the Super Bowl. I'm a big fan of the show. I think the great thing about the show is that it follows the CBS procedural formula in terms of things like Law and Order shows like NCIS Los Angeles. Shout out to LL Cool J. It follows those things, but it actually also delves into the culture. It delves into African American culture. They've already had some stories about that are relevant today. And Queen Latifah has a big say in how she's being presented and how the show is being presented. I've watched numerous interviews, and she's one of the producers of the show, along with her longtime partner, Shakim Compare from Jersey, from the Bricks. And, they bring in the Bricks and they bring in Jersey to CBS. It's a great show. I mean, it's great action. She's got a great cast. It's great writing. And I think it's a great thing to see her there. And it's already been renewed for season 2. So that's good news.
Very good. All right. That's what we want to hear. Congratulations to Queen Latifah doing the doggone thing as the Equalizer. Yay. Give it up for the Queen. For those of you all that are just joining us, welcome to the Wednesday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy. So glad to be here with you guys on this cold, rainy, windy, spring night, but that's okay as long as it's not snow. Kevin, no snow and no below zero. I'll be just
snow fine. And anything, nothing with a 3 or a 2 attached to the degrees.
Yes,
that's all I care about.
Right, nothing where the meteorologist is saying howling winds and sub-zero temperatures. No, we don't want any of that. Tonight we're celebrating all things women. Coming up later on in the show, we'll meet a wonderful mixologist. She's been in the business a number of years. She's gonna be here tonight to talk to us about the history of women barkeeps, bartenders, barmaids, however you call it. And we'll also have a wonderful Women's History Month cocktail tonight that you guys can see how it's done and you can make it yourself, or you can go to this wonderful place and celebrate Restaurant Week, which is going on until April 4th. So make sure you guys get out and experience some of Restaurant Week too. All right, Kevin, where are we now? Did you bring your mask tonight, brother?
Of course, man. Come on. Let me show you the new joint I picked up today. I'll be picking them up.
You like me now. Quite the fashion plate with your mask.
Oh, man, come on. Here's my joint right here.
What does it say? Oh, that's nice.
Just plain, but it kind of fades in from black to gray to, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, my man,
kind of a sexy Zorro vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it does. Yes. Or you could kind of play like a zebra in the bedroom or something, you know, with your hair.
All of that stuff.
You know, right. That's what I'm talking about.
Let me stop. And then I picked up this one.
Oh, well, let me see that one. Oh, that's nice too.
It's kind of a tie-dye Grateful Dead meets Phi Beta Sigma, my fraternity, you know?
Oh, that's too funny, Kevin, because the tie-dye, I love it. I have a top like that, and I probably need to get me a mask to match my top.
Go to Walmart, but go out to the suburbs, brother.
Got you. Okay, I'm glad to see that. I'm gonna get that. Okay, because I do have a top to match it. So mine's
And if I happen to see one, because I hang out in the suburbs every once in a while, if I happen to see one, I'll pick it up for you.
You are the best. So listen, you guys, my mask tonight says be bold, be genuine, be you. Make sure you wear your mask nice and tight, pull it all the way back. Remember, on this show, we're wearing masks until Juvember of 2025. Kevin, do you know when that is? Have you seen it on your calendar?
I've not seen it. I've not seen it pop up. You're going to have to educate
That's how we
me.
spell it. We spell it JUNVERBER.
Okay.
And if you find it on your calendar, you can stop wearing your mask out in public. You don't have to wear it anywhere. But until you find that month on your calendar, then you got to keep wearing your mask. Are you in agreement with us?
I am 100%. I see it on my screen now. You just put it up. We will be wearing masks until June-November of 2025.
Yes.
I guess it's a good thing I got a whole drawer full of them.
Yes.
I guess it's a good thing I got a selection of them, huh?
See, that's what I'm saying. It's the new fashion trend, Kevin. You're a trendsetter. We also want to remind everyone to wash your hands. Soap and water is the best way to go. If you do not have soap and water, we ask that you please use hand sanitizer. Put the sanitizer in your hand just like that. On this show, we call ourselves the sexy sanitizers. So look, we got to do something. What was that movie with the guys dancing in it and the ladies loved it? The stripper joint. Yes, I can't think of it right now.
I cannot think of it. I can think of the song even. I just can't think of it. Yeah.
All right, so look, ladies, here you go. All right.
Magic Mike.
Magic Mike. Okay, so here we go, ladies. Look, ladies, do it nice and slow. Look, back and forth. Do it like that.
Look at this guy.
Put your hands up. There you go. Make sure your hands are nice and dry. Also, make sure you guys social distance. We go 6 feet this way, 6 feet this way, 6 feet that way. All right. And another thing, if you're not feeling well, what do we say on this show, Kevin?
If you're not feeling well, keep y'all at home.
If you're not feeling good, please keep your ass in the house. Plain and simple.
Okay. I'll let you.
Yeah. I trademarked that. Right. Keep your ass in the house. That's trademarked by Chat Daddy. So please.
And it's interesting. It's interesting. Another thing. Don't be ashamed if you go to a function and you're the only one wearing a mask. I've had that twice now. I'm the only one. Don't be ashamed. There is no shame in that. There's going to be some mask shaming. I can assure you as we move forward. It's just natural for the culture. But do not be ashamed of taking care of your health still. We're still in the middle of this pandemic. We are not out of it yet. Again, 2.5 million vaccinations a day, but there are 350 million people in this country. We still have a ways to go.
Kevin, there will be no mass shaming of me because I'm telling you, once they match your outfit, once you look great in what you have on, it's a part of your accessory. I have no problem with it. I was actually standing in line today at the county building to take care of some business. And even though they had us all 6 feet apart, we were in this line quite a while. And the lady in front of me, she and I got to know each other, a Caucasian younger woman, just had given birth to a baby. Hello, I gave her my card. She and I had the best conversation today about this. And it was so refreshing to talk to someone of another race about just wanting to get back on the same page. You know what I'm saying? Just whatever it takes to get everybody. And she was explaining how she had gotten a shot right after the baby was born. The husband has gotten a shot. She was saying the grandparents are, in the final stages of getting it. So they just want to do a weekend getaway in a cabin and just have the whole family together just to celebrate the new baby. And I just thought that was so beautiful today.
Well, it's, and that's wonderful to hear that story. And we're all tired of this. Let's be honest. I'm tired. I am tired of wearing masks. I'm tired of having to be careful. I'm gonna, just like we have COVID fatigue, and but we still have to do what we have to do. You had a wonderful story. I had the opposite of that. I almost literally got into a fight with a guy last week in Walmart at the checkout counter. I'm standing in line, and he's back here. And so just imagine that. I'm looking at the camera angle. Okay. So just imagine that there's, the checkout, that when you check out, you got your racks with your magazines on them and your items that they want you to buy before you check out, the impulse item. His hand, I can see out of the corner of my eye, his hand is right here. So the guy's got to be close to me. I'm figuring he's super close. So you know what? I don't want him to think I'm the angry black man. I turn around and I kind of glance, give him a look. Then I turn back. A few minutes go by. I turn around. He's still there. So then I put my items on the conveyor belt, right? And the way I practice it, and again, some stores actually have this as a practice, but the way I do it is I don't put my items on the conveyor belt until the person in front of me who's 6 feet away has theirs off the conveyor into the bagging area, and then they're on their way, then my stuff comes on. That's just respect. Right. So my stuff is on. I turn around and I'm looking, and he's putting his stuff on the belt right behind me. And so finally, I had to say, excuse me. I turned, I said, excuse me, could you back up just a little bit? I'm not 6 feet from you. I said, oh boy, he wants to play. He wants to play the game with this black man, not the guy. So I said, could you please, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not speaking to you disrespectfully. I'm just asking you to back up. I think you're a little too close. Wow. If we got a tape measure right now, I'd be 6 feet. I said, no, you wouldn't be, because I'm 6 feet tall. If I lay down on this floor right now, I'm going to bump your knee. That's how close you are. I'm going to ask you to back. Well, it's not the law. I said, okay, you know what? You're fortunate that I'm in a hurry, because I'm going to take my stuff. I said, but if I see you again and we have to have this conversation again, it's not going to be pleasant. Of course, people in line are scared to death. I'm 6'2", almost 300 pounds. They're not trying to play, right? So it was unfortunate because it ruined my whole day, and it shows me kind of still where we are nationally.
Wow. No, I've not had anybody to get out of pocket like that. I've had a few situations where people maybe have got up and not had their mask on, but for the most part, when I've been standing in line with people, it's kind of been great. I mean, like this lady today, she and I, were just kind of, all of a sudden we just started laughing because we had been standing there so long, and that's how we kind of got to know each other and was explaining some things and talking about the reaction to the shot. And this happens to me a lot. I've not had the experience of running into anybody that wants to be an a-hole about this process. This
was my first experience, and it was unnerving for me because I'm not that kind of guy. I didn't think that I asked him to do anything that was unfair. I don't think I asked him to do anything here's the crazy part. While he's sitting there quoting to me how much 6 feet is, his mask is down while he's even talking to me. I'm just like, you don't even have your mask up, but you're going to argue about the 6 feet with me. You're not following any of these rules. So, had I needed to involve a security guard, I probably would have. But unfortunately, fortunately for him, my sister was waiting in the car. I said, look, I got to go, but I hope I don't see you again, because if I do, we're going to have a problem. And that was that.
Wow.
And guess what? That was my first one in a year. I've never had a problem with anybody in that way, shape, or form. And the guy's wheezing and he's coughing. This could have been something different if he'd have been young and healthy. I've run into some young people in the stores here, along 53rd, and they don't have their mask on. I could play the old black guy who's the old brother who's trying to mentor these young Thundercats, but I just let them do their thing. They're gonna get it. But this guy, he was one of those anti-maskers, anti-vaxxers, and so we were gonna have an issue.
Oh my God. Well, Kevin, I'm glad you survived that. I'm glad you okay. Again, a hot mess situation, but no, everybody I've come in contact with has been nice for the most part and been willing to talk about this whole, the mask, the vaccine, everything. I was in a store shopping on Monday, and a lady and I both laughed about the fact that we love collecting these masks now, because guess what? This is a period in our life that none of us ever saw coming. Anybody
Absolutely.
who was around 100 years ago, they saw this. I was talking to my best friend about the fact that her mother was such a germaphobe and believed in cleaning and wiping everything down. And that's why she and her daughter and children, are like that now, because of the grandmother. And we, had to think about that, because she lived to be 101 years old. So she, her mom was probably a germaphobe back then because of the pandemic then.
Well, what's eerie about this is I read an article yesterday about the 1918 pandemic and how this mimics that pandemic, and how it mirrors it in so many different ways. Even the point where there was a resurgence
Yes.
of the virus in 1918 because they tried to go back a little bit too soon.
Right.
And if there's anything we should know, is that history repeats itself, and we should learn from the past. And it is entirely possible that if we're not careful, we could see a resurgence of this thing again. And this country can't afford another year like last year.
Right.
As a culture, as a people, the American people can't afford another year like we had. So if it means a little discipline now, and I'm disappointed, and this may result in some people unfriending me, and this is what I always say, that's okay. I got 843 waiting. If you want to unfriend me, I have no problem with that. But I'm disappointed in some things that I'm seeing on social media here, on my very own pages. I'm disappointed in some of the things I'm seeing with no mask, being in places, with people not wearing masks, not social distancing. Some of y'all should be old enough to be disciplined enough to carry this on for just a few more months until we can get out of this.
Right.
Yep, there you have it.
Oh, no, I love them. I love my mask. I think they're the most, I do. I love it. I think it's a expression of, who you are, what you want to say. If you belong to a fraternity, sorority, whatever the case may be, I made a commitment at the beginning of this pandemic to do as many selfies as I could of myself in my mask. Dude, this is history. This is history.
And it's about responsibility. It's about responsibility, and it's about maturity at the end of the day. And as a nation, the United States is one of the most irresponsible and immature countries in the world. Right. And so we have an opportunity to change that around if we decide to take it. But the cost right now is so high that I really hope people start to pay attention, because this uptick I'm not looking forward to it. Here we are approaching another spring and summer, and I don't like to see nobody's uptick.
No, I don't either. I don't either. I want everybody to be safe and protect themselves. All right. Well, Kevin, you've done a good job so far. This has been a great show. Time is moving by quickly. I appreciate you being here with us this evening. I really, really do. Brother, what else we got? Oh, wait a minute. I want to talk about the fact that Chicago's very own and your boy, Mr. Kanye West, the richest black man on earth.
Yep.
Brother, how did Kanye get that wealthy? And then let me digress just a little bit. Kanye, the Regal Theater is still sitting empty, in desperate need of repair, and would be a beautiful comeback for the South Side of Chicago. It would be like a crowning jewel for us if you bought that whole block and did something really cool and nice. Okay, I'm just saying. All right, go ahead.
I had that very conversation, I kid you not, Art, day before yesterday with my sister. We were driving by the Regal, and we were having that very conversation that is still sitting there. That's a landmark. That's an historic landmark that I myself, I don't know about you, I've been on 3 or 4 different conference calls where I thought something was going to happen with people who I thought were going to make it happen, and thus far nothing has happened. So I'm hoping that is the case, that something can happen, and that we're able to do that. But on to Kanye West. So first of all, I'm going to congratulate our guy. He's Chicago through and through. Got to congratulate him on that $6 billion. and that ranking.
Wait a minute,
Now,
did
here's
you
what
say 6 as in B with a B, billion, not
with a B
million?
as in billion, 6 billion. $6 billion. Most of that derived from the Yeezy collection, by the way. So it was clothes, it was a fashion that garnered him a lot of that money. Here's what concerns me the most, though. I don't want to be a hater. I don't want to be a killjoy. I don't want to kill the moment. That's why I led with a congratulations. Here's what concerns me is that we are applauding him for being the wealthiest black man at this particular juncture, but we're not addressing the fact that he has mental and emotional issues that need to be addressed directly, the same issues that have plagued and continue to plague our communities and people of color. And so we're glorifying the financial aspect while ignoring the fact that he still has not sought out help. And at this point, it looks like it's going to cost him his marriage and probably a good quarter of that $6 billion, if I'm not mistaken about California law.
Well, the way I look at it, she popped them babies out one after another. Those children never have to worry about wanting or needing anything because mama's a gold mine, daddy's a gold mine, and as you said before, the state of California, I'm sure he would have to give her so much of whatever it is. But when you become, I guess, a billionaire like that, it's not. I'm sure he has his stocks and interests and things well protected. Like, I'm sure he doesn't have his $6 billion in a shoebox. I'm sure his stuff well protected.
Well, we can only hope. let's not assume anything with Kanye. He might have a shoebox somewhere. Don't give him that kind of credit. Yeah, he might have a Yeezy. He might have Yeezy boxes full of cash.
Yeah, but guess what, Kanye? We do banks now. We do investors. We look, as the lady said on the show last night, we take the stimulus and turn it into stimulus. And so,
you want to give him credit. I'm not so sure. I've heard him say and do some crazy stuff, brother.
Oh my God! Well, please, Lord, fix it that Kanye is not has $6 billion around in shoe boxes. Please,
in Yeezy boxes.
Yeah, in Yeezy boxes. Yes, no, please do not.
But congratulations to Kanye. I've known Kanye actually when I first moved here. Kanye used to come over to like Mike Dunn's studio when I would be over at Mike Dunn's studio. And Kanye would be there pushing beats and things of that nature. And he's hustled and he's worked hard and he's Chicago. So, love for that brother.
He is. Well, come on, Kanye. Come on to Chicago and invest in the South Side. Let's make Stony Island the crown jewel of the South Side. Let's make Stony Island the top eating destination. Let's put some tourism things along Stony Island. Let's make it happen. With the Obama Library coming, that means hope for the South Side.
That's right. And that can be the starting point, and we can continue to move south.
You know what I want to shout out is the Pullman Porters Museum that I guess is being built in the Roseland area. I drove past there the other day, so I'm very much looking forward to when that will take place. Yes, let's staple this whole city together so when you drive down Lakeshore Drive, you're able to say, oh, I could go eat that, or I could go stay here, or I could go live there. It's all about making this a city. This is still the most racially divided city, I think, in this country.
Absolutely.
I think of a few other, but we are so racially divided. It is hard to get my Caucasian friends to want to hang on the South Side, and hell, it's hard to get Black friends to want to hang in the hood on the South Side.
Well, there are other cities in the country that are segregated, but per capita, you're correct. For our population size, we are probably the most segregated city in America, to be very honest with you. And speaking of landmarks, by the way, we got some good news the other day. There's been some controversy over some of the landmarks, including the Muddy Waters home, the Emmett Till home.
Yes.
Well, now it looks like I won't say the older person's name because we keep the show. You and I keep the show very straight ahead. But that person, there was a person who was introducing a referendum that was going to make it difficult to declare those homes landmarks and those places. That person has rescinded their position. And so now there's going to be further discussion on perhaps making Emmett Till's house a landmark and an attraction, as well as Muddy Waters and some other homes that I think are important to the history of and the culture here in Chicago of the South Side. So
Right.
that was good news to get that yesterday.
Very good. All right. Well, let's see, because the South Side definitely needs that boost, that shot in the arm to help bring it back. Wonderful housing, big, beautiful places. If you have any type of imagination, creativity, you can actually turn places really around. But we've got to reinvest back in our communities and do what's necessary to make it happen.
Right, and that's another reason. Again, I have to go back to earlier in the show. I was disappointed and saddened to hear that there were some South Side restaurants that did not get included in Chicago Restaurant Week. What I told the person who posted on Facebook and gave me that information, I first thanked that person for making me aware. But you and I both know that you have to go sometimes above and beyond your brand. What does that mean? Well, you have to get out there, and it's great to appeal to our audience, our followers, our customers, and our supporters. But you have to have a global vision, I think. And I'm not saying that they don't have that,
Right.
but Raquel was a person who we formulated a partnership where she says, Kevin, you're a marketing professional. If you think we should do it, let's do it. She trusted me and entrusted me with the brand. Conversely, I had to look at and understand her brand as a restaurant. I've learned more about margins, and I've learned more about the supply chain and how restaurants work. I had to learn those things in order to be able to relate to her so that I could support her. So there needs to be a synergy if we want to expand our businesses, and we need to look at taking advantage of people like yourself or myself who are experts in our field of study, what we do, and we can help each other. We can help these businesses grow and move forward on the South Side especially.
I have a new brand that's premiering in May. And as a part of that new brand that's premiering in May will be features on Black-owned restaurants, Black-owned businesses, establishments. From my point of view, my take.
Fantastic.
So,
And the guy who cooks on Windy City Live is perfect for that.
Absolutely. Who better than me? Right. Because if it don't taste right, I'm not gonna tell y'all right. You gotta,
Yeah, you ain't doing no political favors. If it ain't good, it ain't good.
I've never done that, brother. You know what I'm saying? That has never been me. That is
Yeah.
All of my friends that are in politics and people that play politics, God bless you all. That's not the game I'm trying to play in. I'm trying to play fair, honest. Let's make it be what it needs to be. Our biggest problem is we don't uplift each other enough. We don't
Absolutely
work
correct.
enough to make things what they need to be. And look, that's coming from the mouth of the black man. The black man saying that.
Right.
No,
we have definite trust issues and some other things that we need to get past in order to build and grow. As you said so astutely earlier, we're probably the only race in the history of the world that has endured as much as we have for as long as we have,
and almost think it's pleasure. We almost think it's pleasure. The pain and trauma that we've been through, the issues that can never be erased in our memories, that's something that we've got to immediately start learning how to heal from it and move forward. And that's really why I created this show. This is a health and wellness show. We just talk about a number of things on this show.
Well, there's an actual PTSD that's involved with our culture. And it starts with slavery, but it's been maintained through Jim Crow and segregation and discrimination and law enforcement, policing, and all of those things have continued to maintain this racial PTSD that we have. And not only is it against the culture, the mainstream culture, but it's we turned it on ourselves. We've turned it on ourselves and on each other.
Yes. All right. Well, with that being said, we want to say good evening to everyone who is joining us. For those of you all that's been hanging out with us all evening, thank you so very much. We greatly appreciate you. You're watching the Real Chat Daddy Show, coming to you live via 6 different platforms. We're on Facebook on 3 different pages, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. Please make sure you go to YouTube and subscribe to the Real Chat Daddy Show. It is free. It is easy. Facebook, the Real Chat Daddy Show, and on other social media platforms, all you have to do is go to therealchatdaddy.com, and the information is there. Monday through Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time is when we start the show. We usually wrap up whenever we get tired. We're usually done by 9 o'clock every night, and we appreciate all of the amazing guests that we've had. We appreciate all of the wonderful co-hosts that have hung out with us tonight. The one and only Mr. Kevin Ross is here, music executive, the chief officer of Two Guard Media or Two Guard Group. Kevin is just a really great guy all the way around. One of our viewers said racial battle fatigue syndrome. Wow. Well, then
Pretty much.
got it. Huh?
Pretty much.
Hey, yeah, look, look, can we get a check for it? Can I get a check? Please, can I get some kind of check for that? I do have that.
Actually, speaking of which, I heard this and I had to go back. I had to look at it. Do you know that the first place in the nation to give and vote on reparations for Black people is here in Chicago?
Yes.
It was just approved yesterday. And it was, where is that? It's
Evanston, Illinois.
In Evanston, Illinois. Of all places.
Yes.
I could ride my bike there from here. It's literally, I've been to Evanston a couple of times.
Yes,
I
sir.
would never have imagined that.
No, I actually did a benefit fundraiser a few years ago for the Black Policemen Association of Evanston, and Black I can't talk now. Black police officers.
You in as much shock as I am, evidently.
You said what?
You in as much shock as I am, evidently.
Right. No. Evanston has had quite a history of African Americans living up there. And I do have friends that were born and raised in Evanston, Illinois, and their family had lived in Evanston, Illinois for some time as well. Yes.
Wow. No. I would not have thought that. I've been up there. I've gone to the restaurants during the summer. Evanston is beautiful. I mean, you generally can walk around downtown. Downtown Evanston is as awesome as any place else in Illinois or Chicago. But, you know, again, for those watching, Evanston, Illinois has approved reparations for Black people. I guess they're going to start writing checks here pretty soon.
Well, now here's the deal. It's not for everybody. It's for families that have lived there quite a while. So make sure you guys go to the City of Evanston's website to check out the information, because everybody's not getting a check. It's a family history.
Man.
In there.
Man, I thought I was gonna be able to go there and go to somebody's barbecue and then go down to the town hall and get a check. Man, you blew my whole thing, man.
That is not how that works, brother. That is not how
I was going to get me a plate to go from somebody's barbecue and then go down to the town hall and get a check. And then head back to the south side. Doesn't go down like that?
No, it does not go like that. There are rules, regulations, history that goes along with that. Because I can see now Evanston talking about they've had an upsurge of African Americans moving the neighborhood. No, it has nothing to do with that. And shout out to Hecky's Barbecue up there. Everybody's beloved Hecky. He passed away, but Hecky's Barbecue in Evanston is just a great place. All right,
I just can't catch a break, man. First I was in 1P for the vaccine. Now I can't get a reparations check. Nino's gone. Pookie's dead.
Ain't gonna happen, babe. Ain't gonna happen. Kevin, what you got coming up? What's going on? You have a couple of things you've been working on.
Absolutely. So I'm very excited about a number of projects that I'm working on. But probably the one that I'm the most excited about is a friend of mine. Her daughter is autistic, and she's on the spectrum. And she called me a couple of months ago and said she had an idea to create a superhero based on her daughter, a young lady who has autism but has these empathic superpowers that allow her to plug into people's emotions. And I was excited right away. So I got to one of the film producers here in Chicago. He and I partnered up, and we're going to be working on an animated feature about a girl named Inda Girl. And Inda
Indie
Girl,
girl. Oh,
yes,
indie girl.
Inda
Okay.
Girl. And Inda Girl has friends who are on the spectrum, and it's kind of like the X-Men meets the Rugrats, Disney. They have
Nice.
powers, and they're all young, and they help each other. And it is to promote the fact that these are not disabilities; they are differabilities.
I love it.
Differ abilities. Yeah,
I love
and
it. I love it.
super excited. We've got a book. We've got a writer and an illustrator working on a 10 chapter book. From the book, we are going to create a 6-minute animated feature, and we anticipate a great deal of support for that. In the African American communities, we don't talk about autism. It's
No,
almost something
no.
that's shaming, and
Very
so
good.
we are going to create an environment where kids who have autism can feel safe. Parents who have had these difficult experiences when their kids are diagnosed, we want to make sure that they know that there are resources for them that are provided by the different states. And I'm super excited, man. It's not, people are like,
Good.
yeah, I thought you were a music guy. I am, but
No,
I'm also
that's
a culture
good.
guy and public
Right.
service. And you know what I mean?
Very good, Kevin. That is so touching that you would do that. And matter of fact, I would love to introduce, once your product is finished, my ADA group, Americans with Disabilities,
Mhm.
about the work that you're doing, because that is just tremendous. It really is. So
Well,
congratulations.
you're going to get the first interview with her. Her name is Tommy Lee, and her
Okay.
mother's name is Tony Johnson. And you're actually, when I pitched it to her, I said your first interview is going to be with our Chat Daddy Sims. She said, I'm ready, and
Beautiful.
that's the truth.
Okay.
I told her
All
that.
right.
Yeah,
Well,
so
we
you're going to get
got
the first
that.
interview.
Okay,
Yeah.
beautiful. All right. Well, our next guest this evening, I'm excited to welcome her to the show. As the world is slowly opening back up, it is springtime. It's time for us to kind of get out and enjoy ourselves. Restaurant Week is currently going on here in Chicago. It'll be going on until April 4th. This gives you a chance to kind of, look, Kevin, get out, mingle, have a good time. Look, Kevin, wear your sexy mask. You can put your sexy mask on with your sexy outfit, and you can go
That's
into
right.
the bar. And one of my favorite people whenever I'm at a bar is always the female bartender, the barkeep, or the barmaid. And so tonight, to talk to us about the world of the female bartender, all of the amazing things that she's doing. She's been at some of the top-notch restaurants here in Chicago, and now she's at a quaint, just cute place that's women-owned. It is
Okay.
the Dandy Crown. Kevin, up on Milwaukee in River West, fabulous place. Let's welcome to the show our good friend, Miss Sarah Syman. Yay! Sarah, are you there? Let's see. Yay!
Here.
Thank you,
How are
Sarah.
you?
Welcome.
How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Fantastic.
Happy
Good.
Women's History Month. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Things are a little crazy with Restaurant Week at the Dandy Crown right now, but we wouldn't have it any other way.
Beautiful. And so we're so glad that you guys survived the pandemic and that you've been able to stay around. And I even just love the fact that you're doing to-go cocktails and meal pairing. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Your portfolio is just fabulous, to say the least. And then let's talk about some of the wonderful things that's going on there at the bar.
Very sure. So my name is Sarah Syman. I am a born and raised Chicagoan. I grew up on the northwest side of the city. I've been in hospitality in some capacity in the city of Chicago for over 15 years. I started as a hostess in the West Loop back in 2005, when the West Loop was nowhere near what the West Loop is today.
Yes.
It's wild to go there now and think about what it was like back when I was in high school. But I
Definitely very different.
I I went away to college, came back to the city, was pursuing my first career, which was in art gallery management. That didn't work out. But the entire time I was working in art galleries, I was also working in restaurants on the side. And when I stopped working for art galleries, I started working full-time in the restaurant I was working in. That's kind of when the light switch flipped, and I was like, whoa, there's actually a lot of really cool stuff to learn and do in this industry. And so I tried to get a job at a bar that either had a wine focus or a cocktail focus. The cocktail focused place hired me. The wine place didn't.
Wow.
I've never looked back.
Wow. Well, it's a fascinating business. I did a little research, and at the turn of the century, there were 7,000 American women who worked as doctors, but then there were only 147 women working as bartenders back then. But because it was the turn of the century, the pandemic, the war, anytime there was crisis is when females stepped in and became barkeeps, bartenders, and then in modern age, we call it the barmaid. What is it, Sarah? Is there a particular name that we should call you all? Because I call you magic worker. You can mix me a great cocktail and I can tell all my lies to you. I love you, honey. I do.
I think bartender works just fine, to be quite honest. But I do like magic. I do like magic maker. Cocktail percussionist is another one of my favorites.
Oh, look, Kevin, we have a new word now. Look, I have been using mixologist, but I think that's out of style now. So wait, Sarah, you called it what again?
A cocktail percussionist.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Shaking the drinks.
That's sexy. That's
right.
Sexy.
I like that.
I do. Wow. So Sarah, when did you know, like, what was your first signature cocktail you ever made? Like, once you started getting into all of this, I know a lot of the female bartenders I know have like their version of their Manhattan or whatever the case may be. What was your first signature cocktail?
Well, it's funny you mentioned the Manhattan, because I actually a couple of months ago was the winner of the Chicago Regional Woodford Manhattan competition. Just gonna say I was the only woman in the competition with 9 other guys, and I beat all the guys.
Wow. Right. Yeah, that's women's history, baby. That's women's history.
Right. Call Patty Jenkins, the director of Wonder Woman. We got another one.
Look, that's what I'm talking about. That's women's history like you wouldn't believe. Okay, I like that. Very good.
Yeah, it was cool. But the first cocktail that I ever had on a menu was back at my first bartending job. I worked at a place called The Drawing Room, which sadly does not exist anymore. It was in the Gold Coast. It was one of the first quote unquote mixology cocktail bars. Like one of the first places that actually put an emphasis on using homemade ingredients, fresh juices, interesting spirits. And this was back in I want to say Drawing Room opened in like 07 or 08. So like right when the cocktail renaissance was starting.
Okay.
In Chicago. And that was the first place that I bartended at towards the end of the time I actually was on the closing team of that bar. But, the first year that I was a bartender, especially working at a place that was so lauded for being a cocktail bar, and that people, would come from out of town and they knew the name, they knew the bartenders who had bartended there previously, all of whom are very impressive. There was a lot of expectation on me to kind of like live up to that standard. And I didn't know what I was doing. No idea what I was doing. I was faking it till I made it. And there was a lot of faking it for a while. And the bartenders that I worked with there were kind enough to let me continue to fake it and make weird cocktails as I was kind of figuring this out in my head. But they also let me they let me put the best of the weirdest on a menu. And so that first cocktail was Geneva, which is a type of gin. Kind of tastes more like a white whiskey typically. Yellow chartreuse, which is an herbal liqueur, and dry vermouth with orange bitters.
Oh, wow. That sounds great already.
It does.
it was sort of a weird herbal martini variation, but like I didn't create it with that in mind. I was just like flavors together.
Right. But the lemon and the orange sounds like it'll complement perfectly with the gin, and that sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, the people that were running the bar program at the time weren't gonna let me put something on the menu that wouldn't live up to at least like the lowest standard that they had at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big drinker, but when I do, it has to be flavorful. It almost has to have a personality in order for me to enjoy it. I'm not going to grab a hit of gin with a little ice in the bottom and enjoy that. That's not how I get down. But
Yeah, me neither.
I love the fact that you actually create. There's an art to creating drinks. There's an art to it. The right mixtures of flavors and even colors at times. I love stuff that's blue. I'm a weird guy. Like, you give me any drink that's blue, I'm gonna drink it.
You're not the minority in that fact. I love a good blue drink too.
Really?
Oh
yeah,
that's
love blue, man. It's this weird. It's a weird thing about me. But blue, what is it, Curacoa or whatever? Yeah, I'm a fan. Like, straight up.
Interesting. I love it. I do. Sarah, you are amazing. I want to talk about the fact that the Dandy Crown is actually owned by two women. Here they have you as the beverage director there. And this being Women's History Month and you mentoring, what do you want to most say to women in this business? It's been a tough year, and you, I hate to say that. Well, I don't hate to say this. I say this proudly. You girls are doing the damn thing through a pandemic. So what words of encouragement would you want to say?
Well, first of all, I just want to, the Dandy Crown is not owned by two women. It's owned by a husband and wife team.
Oh, that's what okay. That's what was in my notes. And that's why I said, okay, so it's a husband and wife. That's what I thought. Beautiful.
It's a husband and wife team. And I have been with them since the beginning of the Dandy Crown. They've owned other bars in the city for many years. But we opened Dandy a little over a year ago, in December of 2019. So I just wanted to make that little caveat real quick.
Right. Thank you. I did see that.
Yeah. But I think, being a woman behind the bar in Chicago has its challenges, certainly. There are a lot of times where people will wait to speak to my male counterpart behind the bar, because they assume that either I'm just a server or they know more than me, which is not always the case.
Wow. Okay.
So that can be discouraging at times, but also, you grow a thick skin working in this business, and you just kind of like let that roll off you. And if someone really wants to talk to the guy behind the bar instead of the girl behind the bar, they may be missing out on a whole other wealth of knowledge and a whole other wealth of perspective that we can provide that our male counterparts can't. That being said, to be a female bartender in the city of Chicago is incredible. There is a wonderful, wonderful network of women behind the bar who care so much about lifting each other up and getting people connected and making sure that everyone is getting opportunities to learn and grow if you want that. And if not, they're just there as general support. I am the product of a few very strong female mentors. And I feel it's, now that I am more established, it is sort of my duty to some of the younger female bartenders that are coming up right now to not only show them that there is space for us in this industry, but also to show them how to do that and how to succeed at that.
Very good. Oh, I
love that is amazing. Speaking to that point, Sarah, I did a little research when Art told me that you were going to be on, because I was fascinated, quite frankly. And speaking to your point, in the years after Prohibition, there were so many roadblocks for women. I mean, there were states that actually enacted laws that made it illegal to even serve alcohol to women, let alone serve in the bar or even be present in the bar. And that's kind of hindered, I think, in my opinion, or it looks like, it's probably, as you said, hindered female involvement in the drinking culture. So, have you ever had the opportunity to study maybe the history of that? Chicago being a big prohibition town, and people like Ada Coleman, who was over in Britain, she was one of the earliest female barkeeps. Have you ever had an opportunity to study those things?
I have a bit. I actually was reading about Anna Coleman recently because I presented her cocktail, the Hanky Panky, during a different interview segment that I did. And she was quite impressive. She was an American expat living in London, and to this date is actually the only female head bartender of the Savoy, the American bar at the Savoy in London.
Oh,
they
wow.
had a bartender before her, and they have not had one since.
Wow.
And on top of that, she's actually one of the only, if not the only, don't quote me on the hour of this, but she is one of the only, if not the only, female creator of a classic cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well, the book that I read and the articles I read, the Hanky Panky, was the main impetus of the article. So that still stands.
Yeah, in preparing for Women's History Month, I was doing a lot of research trying to find other classics that were created by women, and I couldn't find any others. I could find a ton of classics that were inspired by women, created by men. The Hanky Panky was the only one that was created by women. Now, when you look at modern classics, things that have been created since the 2000s, there are quite a few more woman-created modern classics.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
back in the day from Prohibition or pre-Prohibition, she might be the only one.
Wow. Isn't that something? And with this being Equal Pay Day for Women, Women's History Month, and when I came up with this idea, I said we really do need to talk about women as it relates to the alcohol business. Kevin, you and I both know there were quite a few women here in Chicago that were alcohol reps, and they were the number one women in the game, number one, in the business. But that's sad how women were treated like that early on in history, and then now women are really excelling in this. I'm very proud of them. I am.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's
very
great
cool.
to see.
It's cool to look around and see so many strong, successful women throughout the beverage industry.
Beautiful. Well, I want to get to the drink real quick tonight because I know you got to get back to all those wonderful people that are there. In honor of Women's History Month, you've created the Woman in the Front, in quotes, room. And so I'm going to put that up there. So tell us all about this cocktail.
Yeah. So this cocktail, like I said, when I was getting ready for Women's History Month, we really wanted to do not only whether it was a classic or something that I created, we wanted to do something that paid homage to some notable woman in beverage history. And so I was looking at female master distillers, of which there are very few. And I came across the woman who is the master distiller for Glendronach 12-year, or Glendronach Scotch. We're using this.
Okay.
He was actually the master distiller for all of the Scotch whiskeys in that portfolio.
Okay.
She has worked for many, many other notable Scotch whiskey houses. Like I said, she's one of very few female master distillers in the world. And she is just incredible. So I wanted to make a cocktail with one of her whiskeys. So I created this Woman in the Front room. So Woman in the Front, because she is the woman in the front.
Okay.
And then, so we're doing the Scotch with a little bit of Pedro Jimenez sherry, which is a sweet dessert sherry.
Okay.
So a little chocolate there. Some Ramazzotti Amaro, which is like a bitter, dark Italian spirit. And then Mole bitters. So this is very much your like stirred and spirit forward after dinner drink to be used in place of dessert if you'd rather drink your dessert. And then we do a little orange express on top to keep it fresh.
Oh.
Now, the reason why room is in there is because the second lady that this cocktail is named for is the ghost that haunts Glen House. So Glen House was a workers' home that was built on the grounds of Glendronach to house the people working at the distillery. And the front room of this house was haunted. And the story is that because part of the aging process for Glendronach is in sherry casks. So there was a woman who traveled in the barrel from Spain to Scotland, and then was flying around all of Scotland trying to find a place to rest. And she found the front room of Glen House, and that was where she decided to stay. So you have the woman in the front and the woman in the front room.
Wow. Well, I do have a question, Sarah. I never knew that scotch could be mixed like that. I'm so used to scotch on the rocks, maybe scotch and ginger ale. I even know of a situation of someone having scotch and cream, but I never knew that scotch could be mixed. I'm coming to try that cocktail because, I didn't know scotch was that versatile like that.
It absolutely is. Scotch is actually one of my favorite base spirits, and one of my favorites to mix with other base spirits. So I quite like the combination of Scotch and aged rum as a base spirit for a cocktail. We had a cocktail on the menu here last year that was that split base. So it was split between Scotch and aged rum. It is incredibly versatile. It is a lot of fun to play with in cocktails.
Wow, beautiful. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with Restaurant Week. You guys are offering some great pairings, $55, of course, for dinner. You guys, they have 3 of the best entrees that look great. Oh, and actually, no, it's $39 and then $25 with the cocktail pairing. So even better. Okay. And so let's talk about maybe some of the cocktails that you'll pair with the food.
Yeah, so we're doing 2 cocktails. One is a classic. It's called the Champs-Elysees, which is a brandy cocktail. So it's brandy, yellow chartreuse, and lemon. We do ours with a little bit of grapefruit bitters. So it's nice and bright and refreshing. You do get a little bit of an herbal note to it, which is really lovely. And then the second cocktail is one of the cocktails from the regular menu. It's called the 99% Yes. It's bourbon, Amaro, cassis, and elderflower.
Wow.
Shaken, served on the rocks with a little bit of sage. It's been on the menu since we opened. I keep wanting to take it off, but people love it so much that I figure until I come up with something that's much better, I'm just going to leave it there.
Well, I know one thing. I want to come try the Thai curry cauliflower steak. I have now become a fan of cauliflower. I've had it so many different ways now. Kevin, are you a fan of cauliflower, my friend?
Funny that you should say that. The other day, I actually tried General Tso's, which is the Chinese dish, General Tso's cauliflower. I got it from Costco, and it was fantastic. And I'm trying to move towards more cauliflower rice, cauliflower, things of that nature. I'd probably say, Sarah, that I'm about 85-90% vegan. So I'm always looking for options. I'm definitely moving in the direction of cauliflower, most definitely. Now, cauliflower steak, that might have my name on it. I might be ready for that.
Yeah, I was at Nipsey's out on South Stony Island, and he had fried cauliflower that really tasted like catfish nuggets. I was so impressed.
Oh, wow.
And so I really want to go to the Dandy Crown to be able to try their Thai curry, because I just, I think it's great. Sarah, help us out. Keep enticing us. We love it.
Yes.
Other really delicious food items on our Restaurant Week menu. We're doing our kale Caesar. So we do it's a fairly sizable kale Caesar salad. We do the dressing in house, anchovy croutons, shaved red onion, and shaved cheese on top. Entrees, our chicken chimichurri is wonderful. We do roasted chicken with some squash puree, roasted purple Peruvian potatoes, and then
wow.
We also do a really beautiful halibut, pan-seared with braised lentils, charred radish, harissa carrots, and an herb beurre blanc. All very tasty.
Wow. What are your hours of operation? When are you there? What are the rules and regulations? Because I feel an evening with Sarah coming on. This show is going on hiatus in the month of April. So, Sarah, I'm coming to hang with you one evening.
Perfect. We are open. Currently, we're open Tuesday through Saturday. We open at 3 o'clock. We close at midnight. Tuesday and Wednesday, the kitchen closes at 10 those days. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the kitchen stays open until 11. The bar stays open until 1 o'clock. I am there all the time. I live here. Here. So.
You know what I love more than anything is your tattoo. Is that a cocktail stirrer as your tattoo?
It is.
You are committed, girl. I love it. You are committed.
I hope so.
That's good to see.
It
is. That is really good to see.
Kevin, in closing, is there anything you want to say to our guests this evening?
I want to congratulate you. It has been a tough year for bars and restaurants, especially. 85, 95% closures, whether temporary or permanent. It's good to see that you have made it through. It's good to see that you are passionate about what you do. www.thedandycrown.com. My girlfriend is a big date night person. This is going to make me look like a superhero. I'm going to bring her through it.
I said Kevin would be the perfect co-host tonight. I said he loves date night. He loves going to restaurants. I said, let's get Kevin as the co-host that evening, and we're going to make an evening at Dandy Crown. Is there anything you want to say before we run off?
I don't think so. Thank you so much for having me. This is wonderful to chat and to share some cocktail stories with you guys.
Oh, we appreciate you so much. You were quite the historian. You were fun. Glad you were here. Thanks for correcting me, because Julia is my dear friend. And I was like, oh, okay, wait. But I forgot. Yeah. So I'm just glad that it all worked out and you did an outstanding job tonight. And who knew I could get me a delectable whiskey cocktail? I'm used to just the whiskey sour or ginger ale but that is great. I cannot wait to try that drink. And look, will it make you? I'm sorry, you said what now?
I said I can't wait for you to come in.
Yes. Now, will it have me hallucinating? What's that liquor that has you abstinent? Is it that has you hallucinating? Can we put a shot of that in there?
Not real. That's not real.
Is it not real?
No.
That goes along with the ghost in the cask art. That doesn't happen.
Well, see, I'm one of those people. I believe in all that stuff. I was going to tell her to give me an extra shot or something in the drink,
No, I mean it'll mess you up a little bit, but it's not going to make you see anything.
Okay, very good. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dandy Crown, go check them out. They're located in the River West area of Chicago, 649 North Milwaukee. There's street parking over there, a beautiful area to walk around in. That area has built up so much. If you've not been over there lately, it's a whole new city, a beautiful place. Their decor is fabulous. You guys have a patio as well too, right?
We do. We have actually the interior of our bar is quite small. So with current capacity restrictions, we actually can only serve a max of 25 people inside.
Okay.
Our patio is quite large. So with very generous distancing, we have 80 seats outside.
Very good. All right. Well,
that was going to be my next question. So I'm glad you were able to answer the capacity issues and what you're able to accommodate, so we can get people over there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very mindful of all of the current restrictions that the city puts on us. I don't want to make Aunt Lori mad.
Yes. Amen.
No, we do not.
Amen.
So we are very mindful of our capacity and our restrictions and our distancing and all that, because we just we want people to be safe when they're coming out, and we don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable or like they're in any sort of risky situation.
Beautiful.
All right,
Beautiful.
great.
Sarah, we
Great.
appreciate you so much. I'll see you soon. Tell everybody I said hello. Continued success to you all. Congratulations on being our Women's History honoree tonight, because you are who I love talking to, that female bartender who makes a great drink. So I appreciate you.
Awesome. Cheers, y'all.
Have
All
a good
right.
night. Cheers.
Thank you.
Wait, here we go. Cheers. Amen. All right. Thank you, Sarah. Have a great night. The Dandy Crown, you guys, go check them out right here in Chicago, River West area. That was fabulous. Yay. We love her.
Absolutely.
That was excellent, excellent,
Great.
excellent.
Informative and entertaining. And, you know, again, I had an opportunity to kind of do a little research before jumping on here with you. And it's actually a pretty fascinating history of women in the bar industry and a lot of the restrictions they've had to deal with. And some of the pioneers, there have been people like, who do I read about? Mary Louise Guyanon, who she was a little bit of a rabble rouser. She was a scrapper. And she wasn't a bartender, but she was a Prohibition era bar owner, and she could have her own special. She was out there scrapping, so it's pretty interesting.
Yes. Well, you know what? I think about modern day women that I know that are in the bar business or was in the liquor business. Brenda Baptiste, she retired from being in the liquor business. Hey, Brenda, we love her. She's in Arizona now. Kim Nash, didn't she go on to do big? She's over in the island as the ambassador of one of the major liquor companies. Dawn Posey, my dear friend, was in the liquor business. So, I mean, it's amazing how women were squeezed out of the liquor business many, many moons ago. But I mean, all of the women who I knew that were, you know, the number one chicks in the liquor game, you know?
Right. One of my clients actually, Black female-owned vodka company, Blue Vodka. You know, as well. She's a history maker. We're gonna have to get her on here at one point and have her talk about some of her challenges and some of the challenges that she's encountered as you know, someone in that position.
Yes, Love Corkscrew Wine. We've got to give her, Pecan Lampley, a big shout out for what she does. You know,
Sugar Rims is a black female owned mobile bar service. That's another one. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. Well, ladies, listen, we love you ladies that mix cocktails. We appreciate you. Remember, after the last global pandemic, there was a great prohibition. I'm sure we get ready to have a great prohibition now, because I'm getting ready to start having little speakeasy parties for people that's been vaccinated. So I'm just telling you now, I'm getting ready to have a little speakeasy.
I'm gonna start calling you Johnny Depp from Pirates of the Caribbean, the way you be talking about Scotch and liquor. That's what I said. Does it give me the? You started to sound like Johnny Depp. Does it have me hallucinating at all?
Yes, does it have me hallucinating, my friend? I think I'm hallucinating. I really do. I'll never forget. I went to a party one time and they were serving. I think it's called absinthe, and it was. Oh my God. And I drank it and I was like, what is this? And they were like, oh, you'll see fairies and pixies. And I'm like, oh hell, I see that any damn way. I don't need no liquor to see no fairies and pixies. I've been seeing those for years. Well, coming up on tomorrow night's show, stop laughing. Let me tell everybody what's coming up on tomorrow night's show.
I tried to stop laughing. That was funny. That's funny.
K. Renee is back in the co-host seat. Dr. Philip Montgomery will also be joining us in the co-host seat tomorrow night. And we'll meet a gentleman, Brother Khalid Scott will be here tomorrow night. He is
I know that name.
Counselor. Everybody knows Brother Khalid.
I know that name,
counselor now. And so we're going to talk about the Pied Piper relationships. You know, the guy Derek Jackson and Kevin Samuels have been giving all this advice to people about their relationships. The Derek Jackson dude, I guess, Then had a hot mess situation happen. The wife sitting there with a bonnet on her head looking a plumb fool. So tomorrow night, Khalid will be here to talk to us about the Pied Piper effect. And I look, I know this situation both in gay and straight, that people have gotten with folks and have lost their minds. And so we'll talk about that. And then the heavy diva, Chicago's very own Otis Mack, will be here tomorrow night. Otis Mack is starting his shows again. He's doing COVID safe, socially distant shows. And so tomorrow night, Otis Mack will be here with us to talk about what he has going on. And it's Relationship Thursday. So with Otis Mack, we're liable to talk about any and everything. All right. Kevin, you still laughing at me over there?
No, man, I got some tears in my eyes from that crack. That was a good one. But when we have some time, the next time around, one of the subjects you probably already talked about it. Your show is very timely. Is Kirk Franklin? I'm just incensed by that situation and what's wrong with these kids these days, and how I've always said that I thought that these kids were out of control starting years ago. Where they thought they were the equal of their parents. And now we see what's happened when kids begin to believe that they're the equal of their parents. Unlike when you and I were growing up, we would have been scared to death to try any of this stuff. And B, we're seeing what happens when parents try to be friends with their kids rather than parents. Now we have a problem. Now we're having some problems. And what happened with Kirk Franklin's son, it just bothers me so much. We gotta talk about that one day.
Okay, amen. No, we have, but we'll bring that back up because I think it's a bigger discussion that needs to be had. Kirk Franklin is not the only parent that's been through that. It's, as you said before, it's a lot of disrespectful young people out here, and I think it has a lot to do with the drug epidemic in our community. I think it has a lot to do with the educational system.
Absolutely.
I just think that it's a lot of factors that you have to look at to why these young people think they're more grown than we are. You know what I'm saying?
Lack of leadership, lack of mentorship. I mean, the list is pretty long at this point. And that's why you got 14-year-olds trying to carjack people. That's just where we are. You know what I mean?
Sad. Yes, absolutely. Well, brother, anything else you want to say tonight before we leave?
Nothing, man, except that I'm just honored to be here with you again. This is cathartic for me, as well as informative and informational. And, for everybody who's watching, please make sure that you share. On all the platforms, subscribe, all of that. This is, I would dare say, this is the #1 evening talk program in Chicago. And
please,
I think I got to be honest. I don't see anybody else out there doing it like this. I really don't. So we have to support these types of institutions and shows like Art Show. So please share, please spread the word. Any questions that you guys may have in the future, please send them. We're here to entertain, but we're also here to inform and to educate.
Yes, we are. And coming May 1st, a brand new product, May 1st.
Yep. I'm looking forward to that, man. That's going to be hot.
A new product is coming May 4th. New equipment, new everything is coming May 4th. So, is it May 4th? May 1st? In May, it's coming, you guys. A whole new brand. You'll love all of it. Yes. All right.
After April and before June. Let's put it that way.
No, it'll be before then. Now we on the deadline. Now we can't stay gone for long. You can't stay gone for long. The one thing I can say is 1 year of shows has been completed. We've completed over 160 shows in 1 year's time. And so now we need to take a hiatus, take a break, and we're going to retool and reposition and do a lot of different things on this show. And matter of fact, other shows too.
Well, I'm honored to have not only been here as host with you, co-host sometimes, but as a marketing company and specialist. You have been awesome to my clients. They've received a boost. Any of my clients that have been on your show have received a boost in their visibility, have received a boost in their numbers. So I'm grateful you make me look like a superhero. So I'm grateful.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. I really, really do. And that's what this is all about. There are a lot of great, talented people out here, but it's how you package it and it's how you put it out there.
That's right.
And Kevin,
That's right.
I'm so glad you said what you said. Saturday, April 3rd. For those of you all that would like to join me, I am doing a virtual seminar, a webinar on the insider secrets to successfully booking your brand and products with Chat Daddy. And I'm going to talk to you guys not just about my show, but how to get on other shows, how to connect with shows. This is Saturday, April 3rd. Seats are $125 per person. It's a 2-hour seminar, and that includes you a coaching session as well.
Oh, wow.
And I'll share with you all of the things you need to know to be able to move your brand to the next level. As I'm looking for new talent for a lot of different things.
Okay, great. I love it. I love that.
Sir. So make sure you guys get connected. That's how you can get connected with that. Kevin, tell everybody how they can find you, follow you, all that great stuff.
I am on the following platforms. You can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, at KROSSCHICAGO. That's at KRoss Chicago. Please do me the favor of taking a look at my marketing page on Facebook, the TWOGUARD. That's the Two Guard Group. That is a brand marketing company. And the same on Instagram, at Two Guard Media, TWOGUARDMEDIA. Everything from events to artist marketing, brand marketing, business marketing, brand management, project management, 30 years of entertainment and brand experience. So I am so humbly grateful to all of those who have supported me thus far, and those of us who made it through this pandemic. And as I like to tell people, even during the Great Depression, a number of businesses were born during the Great Depression. All you have to do is have the right mindset and keep moving forward. Make sure that you are studying and you're knowledgeable about your lane. Get in your lane and drive.
That's right. Kevin, everybody wants to know about your t-shirt you have on tonight. Little Love Jones.
No way. Are you serious? I forgot about that.
A couple of people are asking about your t-shirt tonight.
I love it. So you can follow. I have a clothing line that I'm going to be putting out. The first items on the clothing line are going to be Chicago-based items. This I designed myself for, obviously, the classic movie Love Jones. You can follow my t-shirt line at Instagram, on Instagram rather, I'm sorry, at Urban Pop Culture Tees, TEES, at UPCTees. I'm going to jump back on here one time with art once I've launched on Facebook, but this will be for sale. This will be available. It'll be available for men and for women. And again, if you follow any of my pages, please feel free to inbox me. And we can get you in here early. I will also be debuting some of the t-shirts during Chicago Fashion Week. That is April 18th through the 25th. I'll be debuting some of the shirts that I have designed. This is one of them, and I have some other ones that are great, some great nostalgic 70s TV shows. The New York Undercover is a favorite. A lot of people are waiting on my New York Undercover line of t-shirts and things like that. So I am so grateful that somebody even noticed. I forgot.
Yep. They asked about your shirt. All right. Well, on behalf of my co-host this evening, the amazing Mr. Kevin Ross, thank you so much to Sarah Syman, the bar. What did she say?
Yes.
Percussionist.
The bar percussionist.
The bar percussionist, baby. The bar percussionist.
That is it.
Dandy Crown on North Milwaukee in the River West area. Go check them out. Beautiful, beautiful place. Really, that's a sexy, quiet little place. This ain't no get down on it place. It's sexy, quiet. Have a great dinner. I can't not wait to try that. I want to the Thai curry cauliflower steak. I can't wait to try that. I know it's delicious.
Absolutely. Me too.
Yes. All right. Well, on behalf of myself and Kevin Ross, we want to thank you guys so much. We'll see you tomorrow night for the Thursday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. Do us a favor. Continue to wear your mask. Continue to wear your mask. Be bold, my friends. Be bold and wear your mask.
Put your joint on.
Huh?
I said, put your joint on.
Put your joint on. Wash your hands. Sanitize. Social distance. And as we always say on this show, if you're not feeling well, please keep your ass in the house. Ain't nobody gonna miss you. Wamelda, we love you tonight. Thank you so very much, you guys. We'll see you tomorrow night. That's Wamelda saying good night and have a blessed evening.
Thank you, Wamelda.
Be safe. Kevin, I'll talk to you soon, my friend. Stay out of trouble.
Thank you, boss. Appreciate you as usual. God bless.
God bless. See you later. Bye.
Peace.